Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's
We are
episode 30 of the Brunch and Judge.
30. That's crazy. We've been doing this for more than 6 months now.
Look at us. That
I
is
know.
bananas.
We're committed at this point.
It's like, well, we're still here,
Right.
so
I know. It's like, eh.
you'll see. I brought back an old friend for episode 30.
Angry Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon and I went to Cracker Barrel and they had octopus ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing with it. And he was like, I'll buy it for you. And I was like, no, I really want an axolotl one. They have an
Ah.
axolotl one that you can flip, and I really want that one.
I was gonna say we saw a lot of the octopus ones. Um, and I like them, but that's not like my spirit animal or
Right.
anything. So it's like, but then we found cat ones, and it was like, no, I have to have a cat. It's
You
very
have to have the
important
cat
to me
one.
and my
Yeah.
happiness. So,
Yeah. No. I saw the axolotl one and I was like, I want it.
mm-hmm.
Because I actually really want an axolotl, like a
Oh,
real one.
yeah.
My mom is staring at me and she's like, what are you talking about? She's just making faces at me from the kitchen.
I always love when people help you when you're recording like that.
Right. You're just like, go away. You're just like, go back downstairs where you belong.
Like you don't want to be here for this, do you? Are you bored?
No. You can only hear half of the conversation anyway. Nobody wants that. And they're like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, that's what I thought. Just go on.
All right. So, Claire, what are you judging this week?
You know what? I really don't know at this point. You know what? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna judge Summer. It needs to leave.
Oh my God, yes.
I'm done. That's what I'm judging. I'm judging the weather. I'm judging the seasons. I'm over it at this point. And here's the thing. As a kid, I really feel like we've been brainwashed to believe that summer is really the best time. But it's not. The only reason you think it's the best time is because that's when you didn't have school.
I know. I had this
But, like, as an
conversation with Spencer. I was like, it's just
right,
because,
right,
for a huge chunk of our lives, summer was not school time.
right,
And it
and it
was,
was just you get to hang
free
out with your
roaming and
friends.
doing what you wanted. And I'm
Yeah,
like, but as a season, it sucks.
yes, and I feel like as an adult, it's just like, you know what? We were brainwashed to believe that summer was, like, the greatest time, and it's really not. It's
Mm-mm.
just especially if you don't have a teaching job
Mm.
or, as like, it's just if you just have a normal
You
job
have literally
that you have
any
to
other
report.
job.
Yes, non-teaching job. Yeah, any other job, you have to work all year round, and
Hmm.
it's just like, yeah, no, fall has quickly become my favorite.
Yes, fall. Actually, winter's still my favorite, but I love you,
Yeah,
fall, mostly because Halloween, but whatever.
but I really feel like fall because when it just starts to get cold at night and it's hoodies
Hoodie
and
season is the best season.
it is the best season. And, I like a good bonfire when it's chilly outside. I like that,
Hmm.
fire pit, something like that. I enjoy that. You
Hmm.
know, sitting out, just drinking next to the fire pit. It's fine.
Well, and so like here's the thing. So, winter, fall, it's all about, especially fall. It's about enjoying things like fires, which only happen at night because you don't want to fire in the
Right.
daytime. That's weird. So
No,
like,
that is weird.
maybe like early evening or something, but it's
Right.
about nights and drinking warm things and snuggling and
Yes.
cuddling and watching and having a good time. And it's not about
Hmm.
getting skin cancer because you're out in the sun too much.
Right. And it's like you don't have swamp ass because let's just be
We don't have
honest.
small bass. Yep.
It's yeah. Mm-mm. It's because that's a thing, especially
Mm-hmm.
for me. I'm just the sweatiest person alive. So, yeah. summers, don't enjoy them,
No.
unless there is a pool involved where I can cool off.
Well, but
But just like
even
summers in general, no.
even like there are times when it's too hot for even a pool.
Right.
So I'm talking like, here we get 117 not here, but like where I work.
Right.
117 or 120-degree days and I'm like, fuck
Right.
no. No, no,
No.
no.
Mm-mm.
None of
Mm-mm.
this. And they're like, well, it's dry heat. And I'm like, you know what? I
Oh, the
also
dry
hate
heat
going out
bush.
in like 90-degree heat with humidity. I hate them both. One is not
Right.
better or worse. They both
No.
suck.
Mm-mm.
They're both awful. Stop trying to like I think people are like, well, it's better than. I'm like, they're both bad.
Bad. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stop acting like one's okay just because the other one feels slightly worse somehow. No, they're both
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Yep.
Stop it. Give me another option. The option is not summer.
Right. I remember what was it? Walt went to Arizona. This is when he was in college and playing ball, and they traveled. I think he was in Arizona, and he said it was something like 125 degrees
Oh,
there.
hell no.
And he said it was everybody was just like, but it's a dry heat. And he's like, I don't care. Once it gets above like 95,
It
it's
doesn't
all the
even
same.
matter. It's just
No,
hell. I told
no.
I told Spencer, I was like, we're moving to Svalbard. He's like, where the hell's that? And I was like, where it's never warm ever. There's polar bears. That's where we're going. All right. Like,
Right. It's just, yeah. And I mean, yeah, I really feel like 100, if it's a dry heat, it's 125 degrees. I feel like that would be absolutely miserable. But here, where it's 90 degrees and the humidity is at 3,000%,
it's
and it
also
feels like you need
absolutely
gills to
miserable.
breathe. Yes, it is absolutely miserable. Like you walk outside and you're just like, I mean, you don't have to do anything. You just walk out the door and you're like,
hmm
I feel disgusting and I need to shower.
Yes.
I've done literally nothing but walk out
hmm
the door and I feel nasty. So yeah, it's all just trash. I
Yes.
feel like we've been brainwashed to believe summer is the best time, but
Mm-mm.
it's really not.
Mm-mm. Hate.
No.
Hate.
I mean, when it gets too hot, when you're just like you're so hot, you don't even want to go outside. I mean, what's the point? What is the
hmm
point at that? It's like, okay, yeah. And so now I'm done. I'm over it. September. My fall allergies are setting in, and I'm like, okay, fall allergies are here. I need fall to also be here.
Right?
So
It's
it's
like,
like,
okay, all right, we're here. The pumpkin spice latte is back, guys. So
I
where's my
know,
weather? Bring my sweater weather back.
right? Although I'm of the camp of apple is the superior fall flavor.
Yeah. I saw um a funny meme about how the spices that are used in pumpkin spice lattes are also the spices that typically ward off evil spirits. So if someone doesn't like pumpkin spice, then that tells you
That's funny.
everything you need to know. And I'm going,
That's funny.
I still don't really like.
Mm,
I mean, I don't think I'm evil.
right, right, right.
Eh,
I mean, it's not that I mean, I like pumpkin spice latte. It's just
I like
I'm not gonna
so
like
many
go
things
out of my
better.
way. Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't. I never order it because I don't love it. I like their new. It's not really new. They had it last year, I think. The apple crisp macchiato thing,
I think I got that when I was out there with you
and
last
mhm,
October. Yes.
I like it. It gives you some fall feels because it's like
It does.
it's
Yeah.
appley without being weirdly appley because it is coffee. So
Right.
I mean,
Right.
but it's
Right.
nice. I prefer it. Mm.
Anyway, that's my judge. I'm judging Mother Nature. Get your act together.
Right.
Let's okay. I want seasons because sometimes Kentucky typically doesn't really have seasons. Or if they
hmm
do, it's like one season's here for 2 weeks.
Mm.
And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Come back. I didn't kick you out yet. Like, come back, please. That kind of thing. So that's my judge. I'm over summer. I need it to be fall, like stat.
I am here for that. I'm here for that.
hmm
hmm
All right. So what are you judging this week?
So this week I am judging my epic elevation in social status.
Ooh. You've had an elevation in your
I
social
have an
status.
elevation in my social status. Guys, you won't believe what
Well,
happened, but I have finally reached the level of social status in which I am asked to judge random craft fair events without having any knowledge of said craft. For I am now a community
you're
judge.
gonna make me start coughing because I'm laughing.
Guys, I have
Oh my
been,
gosh.
well, this is what makes me laugh the most is like I have been asked to be a community judge for a quilt show, not in the town in which I live, not in the town in which I work, but in another town entirely. So, like, I'm
Wait.
sorry, what?
What? How did that even happen? How did that happen? That's nuts.
Yes, I laughed hysterically because I got the letter in the mail at work and I was like, all right. I mean, sure. So we have,
Is it because of the people that you brought in
I was gonna say,
with
so
the
we,
cochineal? Like those
oh
those
no,
those
it
crafty
wasn't.
people?
It wasn't
Oh,
them.
okay.
I know, right? No, because they know I don't know a damn thing. They're very
Right.
sweet, magnificent people. May only good things
They
ever
know that you're
happen to
not.
them, but they know I'm an idiot. I don't know.
When it comes, you're just like, I
I'm
don't
just
know.
like I'm here, whatever. So I had a quilting group approach me to host a quilt show at the library, designed specifically to hang off of our mezzanine. So like they're
Uh-huh.
all like square pieces that fit on that space.
Gotcha.
And I was really nice and enthusiastic, even though they came to
And
me
so,
and asked if they could. I'm like, yeah, sure, why the hell not? I don't, why
nice.
not? I felt like I literally did nothing other than climb a ladder several times because,
I love it.
I I get workers' comp if I fall. They sue the city if they fall. That's the only reason I was on that ladder. But so they
Love
were
it.
like, you were so great to work with. We thought you'd like this. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So
So now you get to judge a quilt show.
it's one of those like adult achievements that I never imagined having because
Right.
one, because why would I know anybody that would ask me to do any such a thing? That sounds outside of reason. But two,
Right.
have you met me?
Right.
I don't know anything. It's like I make it up. I don't know. So
What was it? It was several years ago. I mean, several, but I was asked to judge. It was the local portion of a talent show, and the top three, at least the top two, possibly the top three, got to go on and compete at the Kentucky State Fair.
okay.
So it was like mostly singing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There were some other like dancey things in there, but it was mostly people singing. You know, teenagers. It was the youth one, not the adults.
Sure, sure.
But it was like the local version. So whoever we picked, I think it was top two, maybe top three, got to go on and compete at the Kentucky State Fair. So I get it when you're just like, wait, I mean, you want me to judge a thing? What?
Well, like if it were that, I'd be like, I mean, all right, I've been in
Right, right.
shows, I've been in choir,
Yes, yes.
I've taken voice lessons a few times. Like
Right.
I get it. I get what I'm looking for.
I know, like
I
you like you've got the ear. You're like, okay, these people can sing,
right,
and most of them could sing. At that point, it was like you're really looking at the performance
right.
aspect of it, like if they were like how they were performing, that kind of thing
Hmm.
too. So it was more than just like can they hit the notes
Right.
at that point. So it was like, yeah, I've been around. I had been involved with theater for a
Hmm.
hot minute at that point. So it was just like, okay, yeah.
But
But still I was kind of shocked that they
yeah.
asked me to do it. I was just like, really? Me? Okay.
But I'm over here
Right.
like I help you hang up some quilts one day, but okay, let's see
Right.
how this goes.
You're like, I just literally hung up a quilt
Like
and now
I've
you want me to judge them? Are you
um
going to ask your mom since you're is your mom done quilting?
no.
Okay.
No.
No, I just know that
Mm.
your mom has like sewn stuff.
Yes, my mom sews. She recently, as in like in the last maybe 3 to 5 years. Made a couple of t-shirt blankets for grandchildren who requested them,
Okay,
but that was her
gotcha.
first foray
But
into
not like
making
actually quilting.
quilts. Other than like, I'm sure she helped her mother because Granny made quilts, but she didn't make
Yeah.
fashion quilts. She made useful quilts. So
Right, right, right,
she wasn't
right.
going for
Yes.
an art piece. I'm going, well, hell's all right. I don't know.
You're like, I really need this for warmth.
It's
So,
like, does it feel good? That's all I'm looking for.
right. Oh, speaking of your mom and her sewing abilities, I may have accidentally volunteered her for something.
Oh, good. She'll love that. Tell me more.
No, I'm kidding. No, it was just mom and dad where they've been renovating, remodeling their kitchen. It was like, I said, you need to put some curtains back over those windows. And mom's like, we've got these. And at the time, I didn't see the curtains in the space. And I'm like, I feel like you need some solid colors or
Mm-hmm.
something. And dad was like, well, I don't know anybody who makes curtains. And I'm like, Jackie
Yeah.
makes
She
curtains.
made all of her curtains.
I was like, Jackie can sew the crap out of some curtains, dad. You need to go hit her up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he was like, can she? Like, dad, she like majored in home ec.
She sewed all of my clothes in early childhood. I
I
mean, not
know.
like
I was in my
but
head.
like
I'm like,
all of those awful
she made
dresses
your
I had
prom
to
dress.
wear. Yes. Yes, she made my
Yes,
prom dress. I forgot about that.
yes.
Um,
Anyway, I was like,
yeah.
can Jackie
My
sew?
mom made her
Pshaw.
own wedding dress. I mean, like, she's like bitching, you
Right,
know?
right. Move over, Tim Gunn.
That's right.
That's all I gotta say. Anyway,
But
but
yeah,
yeah,
so that's my judge. I have elevated in status. I'm just as scared as everyone else is, guys. This is not how I expected my adult years to go, but what the hell? I mean,
I mean
I'm
that can go on your list of things
well,
like things I've done under 40.
right?
Judge a
Well, and it's
quilt
absolutely
show.
going on my resume. I mean, like, how do you not put quilt
Absolutely.
judge on your resume, guys? Like,
Right.
I'm here for it. So,
Look at me. Look at what I've done.
like,
Yeah.
I'm so beloved in my community that I know all of 5 people, but one of those people asked me to do something. So here we
That's
are.
so funny. Because when you were like, I'm like, but you don't really like get involved with community. Like that's what you were telling me about it. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
What?
it's my
Oh, this is
job. I
awesome.
I do community. When we have community partners or whatever, I'm the one that liaisons with them all because there's nobody else to really. Let's be
Right.
honest. So I talk to a lot of people, and I'm from Kentucky where we're nice and we say things that sound really nice, even if we don't believe them ourselves.
Right.
And
Yes.
interestingly, people never read into that. They believe sincerity always. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. I don't.
Okay, fine.
Everybody's happy this way. It's fine because it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, you will have to update us and let us know
Oh
how
yes, it is in
this
October, so
adventure.
it'll be a bit, but I'm like, whatever. Why the hell not?
That's funny.
So
I love it. I'm here for it. Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, if there's one with a cat on it, it wins. It gets my vote. It doesn't even have to
Automatically.
be the best one. I'm like, cat winner, winner. We're
Right.
here. So there it is.
I love it. You'll have to take photos and show us.
Oh yes, absolutely.
It's gonna be great. I could tell. Right. Well, guys, this week we're talking about the scariest shit ever.
Yes, we are. Yay.
And it's gonna be yikes.
Now, we'll go ahead and tell everyone that while I am recording in the same place that I always record, Claire's at her parents' house. So
Mhm.
she is forced to keep her words in check to some degree.
Well, they're downstairs right now,
Ooh,
so
okay.
as long as I'm not
Ooh.
like
So
screaming, that hopefully they
it's
won't
like an
notice.
extra level of suspense and tension. Will
Mhm.
Joe peek his head around the corner?
It really is like Alton's like, "Who's in the kitchen?" If you see me like look up, I'm looking in the kitchen because somebody's probably in there making faces at me, mom.
Mm.
So,
Well, I go first this week, and I have brought to you the thing that ever since I first learned about it has scared the absolute shit out of me. Like it creeps me out, and like I'm gonna have nightmares about it tonight. And
she's like, "It's Spencer, come cuddle. I don't
I'm
want to be
like, you have
alone.
to come hold my hand now.
Can't talk about this and then go to bed."
All right, guys. I'm going to be talking about black-eyed kids. Dun, 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 dun.
Not to be confused with Black Eyed Peas.
No, which, though terrible, will not scare the shit out of you.
No, no. The band nor the actual Pete. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I got my information from Wikipedia, of course, Buzzfeed, Reddit, because all
Yay.
the good things are on Reddit,
Right.
and TBSnews. I don't know. Why not?
Okay. TBS. Gotcha.
TBS. You remember? It's been a long time. TBS.
Yes. All right. Let's get into it.
All right. So, for those of you who don't know, black-eyed children's black-eyed
Chitlins.
children, black-eyed kids, or BEK. Some places shorten it to BEK, which sounds like
BEK. I
a
love
serial killer. So there's that.
like
Yep.
BTK perhaps. I
Nope.
know, right?
They are paranormal creatures that resemble children, usually between the ages of 6 and 16. Now,
Okay. I guess in my head I always thought they were younger. I don't think I ever remember seeing any that were like teenagers.
it
When I
usually
hear
it's
when
like
I hear about this, I
I
usually
feel like
think of like
the oldest are usually around 14 in the ones that I've heard about, but
right.
whatever. Um, so they all have pale skin, and they're called black-eyed kids because their entire eyes are just solid black. There's no sclera, the white part. There's no irises. It's just solid black, which is
Let me
creepy.
tell you what, the contacts that you can buy that make your eyes do that
Mm-hmm.
freak me out.
That's
Like
that's
you
correct.
see, yes, yeah, because because I know people get that kind of stuff for Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah. It's just like, nope, I don't know. I'm not here for that. Go
Mm-mm.
away. Get your nasty contact stuff away from me. Because it's like, no.
Okay, so they're often seen hitchhiking or begging, or the thing that creeps me out the most, on the doorsteps of residential homes.
Just
Yeah.
chilling on a porch.
So, although there are reports that they've been around since the 1980s, which is not that long ago, I know.
Really? Just that? Mm.
Um,
I would have thought it'd been older than that, but whatever. I mean,
there
seriously.
are the first real story that people seem to pinpoint and point to as an account happened in 1996.
Okay.
So Brian Bethel is a reporter in Texas, and he has had a couple of encounters with black-eyed kids, but his first encounter is the one that kind of got everybody talking. And I think brought other stories out because his story made other people be like, "Oh my God, I've had this experience."
Like, oh, I'm not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This happened to me too. Also, what kind of person are you to have more than one experience with black eyed
Right.
children? That's what
Well,
I want
and
to know.
completely unrelated. So this first one happens in Texas, and the second one, which I don't really talk about, happens in Portland, Oregon. There's
Yes,
that,
right in
but
your
I'm like, nope,
backyard.
nope, nope,
April's like, I am not
nope,
here for
nope,
that.
nope.
Thank you. We're going to ignore.
Okay, so Abilene, Texas, 1996. Brian Bethel is in his car. He's in the parking lot of a local movie theater. Um, I don't know. Guess he had just come out of a movie. Sorry, I have something in my eyeball. Oh no, it's a black eye.
Oh no, you're turning into a black eyed child.
Oh.
No.
Anyway, so as he is sitting in his car, two young boys between the ages of like 9 and 12 are wearing hooded sweatshirts, and they knock on his driver's side window.
Okay, first off, no.
Right. I'm like,
I'm
fuck
not
no.
here for that. No.
Um,
Do not knock on my window when I'm sitting in
no,
my
it's
car.
scary.
Absolutely
It
not.
scares the crap out of me. Don't do that.
Doesn't matter who you are. Yeah. I might hit you. I might run over you. I'm just saying. Don't do it.
So he cracks the window because he's not stupid. He's not
As he
rolling it down, just a
should.
little bit, little
Yes.
smidge.
Right.
And he is expecting some kind of a spiel for money, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, like, oh, I can't get a hold of my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he says that he found that he was immediately gripped by an incomprehensible, soul racking fear. Just unexplicable, just
Wow.
like pure terror. And he's
Rolling down his
like,
window and looking at
and he's
children.
well,
Yes.
it's fair. I
Children also terrify me
I
in
would
general.
probably feel that way regardless of the color of their eyes, but whatever.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Children in general terrify me, but whatever.
So one of the boys asks him if he will give them a ride back to their mom's house, that they left their money there.
No.
That they wanted to go see the movie Mortal Kombat. LOL.
Oh my gosh. Mortal Kombat.
And
The
so,
OG
yeah.
one. Yes.
And so Brian is like, the last showing of that movie has already started, and it's like a third of the way into the movie already. So by the time we got and came back, it makes no sense. No, absolutely not. That's
Like
stupid.
they would have missed it completely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, but the boy was like, "Oh, but it won't take long." We're and he kept being like, "We're just little kids. We don't have like a gun or anything." And I'm like, "What the hell?"
Oh. Uh-uh.
Uh-uh.
Mm-mm.
And so,
As my mother says, thou doth protest too
yeah,
much.
right.
When you say junk like that, that's when I'm like,
And so
that's suspicious. Nope, we're not
Brian
doing
was
this.
like, no, no, no. Um, he said that he looked away from them for a moment, and then when he looked back at them, his mind again exploded, and this is his word, exploded in a vortex of all-consuming terror.
God. Oh my God.
Because that is when he realized that both boys had coal black eyes. They're just solid black.
So it was the second time he looked
Yeah,
at them that he real oh
because
my
they had the hooded
gosh.
sweatshirt on, so you're not really seeing their eyes.
Like looking, yeah,
Mm-hmm. And so, like, he rolls up his window because he's freaking the shit out.
because that's the correct
And
response.
one of the boys starts banging on the window saying, "We can't
No.
come in unless you say it's okay. Let us in." Ugh.
Absolutely not.
I'm
In
getting
what universe?
getting
In what
creepy
universe
chills. Just
is
ugh.
that gonna yeah. Listen, you paranormal creatures. If you want to be invited in, that's not the way to do it.
Mm-mm.
That is not the way to get it done.
It's so, so creepy. I hate it.
I know, right?
And
It's like
so
the I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. I'm like,
I know. So Brian does the smart thing and he GTFOs. He's like, "Nope,"
of
and
course.
drives away. And he says that as he's looking back in the rearview mirror, the boys had completely disappeared. It's just a parking lot. So like, where the fuck did they go? They're just
They
poof gone.
go, yeah. Wasn't like there were a lot of cars they could hide behind
No.
or yeah. Uh-huh.
And so like when he reflected back on it, he thought about their voices and how they sounded really mechanical, and how the words sounded very like what they were saying sounded very rehearsed. It was just a weird all around thing.
So what you're saying is those kids that we were talking about a few weeks ago at the whatever it was, when you were talking about kids and their monotoneness and they're actually robots, they could potentially be
Mm.
black-eyed children.
Ooh.
You and Spencer
I
might have
didn't look
encountered
at their
black-eyed
eyes.
children.
That could have been black-eyed children.
The one that you were talking about, like
It-
behind that we're talking about the painting,
that was just
and
weird
it was
that
like,
their grandfather my
yeah,
grandfather's a
my
painter.
grandpa is a painter.
But but not that kind of painter. He paints houses. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just like that. Creepy.
They
Well,
could have been they could have been black-eyed children.
so Brian shares the story with like a couple of friends. He's like written it up in an email. This is the 90s. It's the
Right.
90s. Sorry.
Yes. I love that guy on TikTok.
Same. Um, and so he sends it to a couple of friends who then send it to a couple of friends who send it to a couple, you know how it goes.
Also, it turned into a chain
And so
email,
it turned
okay.
into this whole big thing, and ended up on Reddit eventually, which started a whole
Oh,
new
yes, Reddit
world
does. Yes.
of oh my god, this has happened to me. So I'm going to share with you a couple of other stories um, that originally were from Reddit, but I got them through somewhere else.
Gotcha.
So the first one is by a user called Sarah Beth 11. I hope that she's not 11. It's creepy.
Right. Yeah.
Um, she said that she was sitting alone in her family room when there was a knock at the front door. and outside are two kids, a girl who looks around 11 and a boy who looks to be about 9. The girl asked
Mhm.
if she could come inside to use the phone to call her mom or call their mom. And Sarah Beth is like, as soon as this girl started speaking, she said that her stomach was like dropping. Like she just knew something was really, really wrong. Just,
Oh no.
and then it must have been kind of dark outside because then the little girl stepped more into the porch light. And that's when Sarah Beth noticed that her eyes were solid black.
Ooh,
And
no,
in
no, no,
that
no, no. Nope,
moment,
nope.
Sarah Beth was filled with inexplicable terror. She felt the hair on her arms and neck stand to attention, and she started trying to shut the door. And the girl started
Oh
pleading,
no.
saying, "Please, ma'am, we're really scared and alone out here. We
Oh
have to come
no.
inside. Please help us." And she's like, then they both began to whimper and cry, kind of like on cue, and it sounded not right. So like she shut the door and like went and hid,
No.
and eventually they disappeared. And I'm like, bleh,
No.
bleh. Um,
Okay, first off,
mm-hmm.
I don't answer my door at all anymore.
No, no, absolutely not. I hate it.
Unless I am expecting people. Or if somebody who knows me is like, "Hey, dumbass,
I'm
I'm
outside your
out." It's
door.
me. Yeah, like they text me, like, "Hey, it's me. Come open your
I try to
door."
do weird incognito look out a window. Who dat?
Dude, I do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Same. Like I had a dude, like some random guy knocking on my okay, this is back when I had COVID and I'm quarantining.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just wanted to yell out the window, like, "Go away, I have the plague." But I didn't, because then he would have known I was home. But it was like this guy knocking on my door, and he was like persistent. Knocking on the front door, came around, knocked on my side door.
Yeah.
I'm like, at that point, I'm like hiding at a point in my living room where he could not like look in the one door and see me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm kind of like peeking out the curtains, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just walks off. Like he walked there. There was no car in my
That's
driveway.
weird.
It was just like, it was very weird. I was just like,
Mm-mm.
yeah, no,
Mm-mm.
mm. Yeah. So first off, don't
Don't
answer
answer the
your
door.
door. No, never.
Okay, so this next story is similar. The Reddit user is called No Sleep 2012.
I feel that myself.
um, she had a similar experience where kids are knocking on her door, and her she's kind of apprehensive about it, and her dog is literally like cowering at her ankles, like freaking the shit out.
I mean, that right there.
And
If the dog is freaking
yes,
out,
right?
then no. Mm-mm, absolutely not.
Animals know, man. They
They
know.
do. They absolutely do.
So the girl, the little black-eyed kid in her situation became very demanding about being let in. It was like, we're not gonna hurt you. If
No.
we wanted to do that, we would have broken in.
Again, thou
Like,
doth protest too much.
it's just like, what are you even saying?
Mm-mm.
What is wrong with you?
If we wanted to hurt you, we would have broken in.
And so, like,
What?
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. Is that supposed to make me feel better?
No.
That you didn't break into my house?
Like,
Like,
if we
no.
wanted to hurt you, we would hurt you. I'm like, no, stop that.
Like, no.
Blech.
That's not how you get your way, sir. Absolutely not. No.
So her dog snarled at the door some more, and like the woman, as she was inching away from the door, like she had closed it, and was trying to like get away from the door. She
Right.
could feel something inside her pulling at her to try, like her body was actively trying to go back to the door and let them in. And she's like, "What the fuck is happening to me?"
No.
And
No.
she's like, "I have not slept well since this happened." I'm like, you think?
Right. At that point, you're like, I'm immediately moving, putting the house on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're leaving, changing
Like,
apartments, whatever.
oh hell no. Okay.
No. Mm-mm.
This is the one that freaks me out the most. I've heard it several times, and every time I hear it, I get freaked this shit out.
Right.
Okay, so this happens in a snowy town in very rural Vermont.
Okay.
And it's an elderly couple. And they're sitting at home when they hear 3 loud knocks at the door. And when they get to the door, they see a couple of kids outside, a boy and a girl. And the kids say that their parents will be here soon. Can they come, or may we come in? And
No, you may not.
they let them in. Well, because they're an elderly
Why?
couple and it's two kids. It's
You don't know any
snowy, it's
better.
cold. Why are there kids out? Like, oh gosh, oh no. So they let the kids in because they haven't fully seen their faces yet.
Oh God.
And so they're all,
Poor,
yeah,
poor unfortunate souls,
yeah.
right there.
So they're all sitting on the couch. The woman goes to the kitchen to make some hot cocoa because it's cold and snowing.
Yeah.
And her husband is sitting with the kids trying to ask them like questions. Oh, where are you from? Who are your parents? And the kids just don't
Mm-hmm.
say anything,
Mm.
which is terrifying.
Disconcerting.
And so the woman comes back and she like her cat she notices is freaking the shit out again. Animals know things.
They do.
And like
Animals are smart.
the cat is like doing that guttural growl and the kid's like
Oh, yes,
it's
yes,
like
yes,
absolutely
yes.
not.
Mm-hmm.
And when she comes back, the kids ask, may we use the restroom? And that's when she sees their eyes.
Oh,
And
shit.
again, coal black eyes.
Mm.
And she's like, yeah, go use the restroom. And as soon as they're out of the room, because they go together, which is weird, a boy and a girl going together to the bathroom.
That is bizarre.
Okay, whatever.
Question. Do they usually appear in twos?
Apparently.
Okay. Because, I mean, everything you said has been like
All
two.
the ones I'm telling you today are two,
Okay.
with the exception of maybe one. Um,
Okay.
so they after they go to the restroom, she looks at her husband and she's like, "Did you see their eyes?" Because she's like freaking the shit out now.
Right.
And before he can even answer, his nose just starts bleeding.
What?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this sounds
And
terrible.
then the power goes out.
Oh, no. With it snowing? Oh, jeez.
And so the woman is like, everything is black, just like their eyes at this point because the power's out. And
Right.
so she goes to the restroom to, try to find the kids.
Uh-huh.
And she hears them say, like, she's not seen them because it's dark. She hears them
Mhm.
say, our parents are here. And they go to the front door and they leave the front door wide open.
And then it's
And
just,
so the woman walks to the door, and at the end of their driveway is a car and two very tall, slender men. And she waves at
oh,
them,
no.
and they don't wave back. And they all get into a car and they leave.
Okay, that ends better than what I thought was gonna happen.
Then the power suddenly comes back on.
But, jeez.
And then over the next week, three of their four cats go missing,
No,
and the
jeez.
fourth one is found dead.
Oh, that's sad.
The husband continued to have nosebleeds
Oh, no.
and finally goes to the
That's no
doctor
fun.
and is diagnosed with an aggressive skin cancer.
What?
So
Yikes.
here's what creeps me out the most about the story: the kids never used the phone, they didn't call anyone.
But their parents were there, right?
When they went to the bathroom, they were in the dark. There's no car horn. No, there's no way for the parents to have indicated
It's
that they were
just
there to
they're
pick them
here.
up. But the kids were like,
Right.
our parents are here. But also, what creeps me out and what creeped the people in the story out is that they live in the middle of nowhere. It's not like they're in town. They don't have neighbors. They're the only
Right.
house.
Like,
How
there's no
why
way
were
that
the
somebody would
kids
have found that
Well, why
driveway.
were
Yeah.
the kids there alone? how did the parents know to come there to pick them up? There's nothing there. It would
Right.
be like my grandmother's farm. Like,
I
uh,
mean, it's
it's
fair.
like, and it just, it creeps me out. It creeps me
Ugh.
out. I hate it. I hate everything about it.
Yes, it does. It gives me goosebumps just talking about it.
Okay.
But
Now I have another creepy one for you.
okay.
A girl moves into her new apartment. It's on the third floor. It's very important you know that.
Okay.
She's not been there very long, and one day she comes home and she hears kids laughing and whispering, and she just doesn't think a whole lot about it. Like it sounded weird at first, but she's just like, whatever. Goes on into her apartment, kind of settles in, decides to go open the balcony door to get a nice breeze.
Uh-huh.
And as she opens the blinds to her balcony door, there are two kids standing out on her balcony.
Shut it. Oh no.
She, of course,
No.
screams because she's startled. You don't expect people to be on your third floor balcony.
Right. No.
And so, again, two kids, and one that's slightly older. And the older one says, Miss, can you let us in? And she is like,
Absolutely
how'd
not.
you get on my balcony? And she goes to start to open the door when she sees their eyes.
Like, absolutely not.
And she was
No.
in that moment like, absolutely not. No, 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 no. She's filled with pure terror, because everyone is. And she's like,
Yes,
I'm calling
absolutely.
the cops. And so she
Right.
calls the cops, and the kids are on the balcony the entire time, pleading to, let them in, let them in. When the cops get there, she goes to her front door to let them in. And by the time they get back to the balcony door, this is an apartment, so it's not big. By the time they get back to the balcony door, the kids are gone.
Just like disappeared off the balcony. You're
And
just like, did you jump? What happened?
well, and so like the cops look down around or whatever, and they see two kids running away in the parking lot below, but the cops are like, there's no way they could have gotten up here or off of here without help. Like, this is
Right.
not possible. So like they even go and like question neighbors and everything, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And the woman is just like, how the fuck did they get on my balcony? Like,
Right.
it's bleh.
Oh, yes. That's ugh. And see, that's the thing. Whenever I was in apartments, it was always like I've wanted to be up
Mm-hmm.
at least second floor
Mm-hmm.
because then it wasn't like somebody could just crawl in your window.
Right.
They had to make an effort, you know.
Unless they're
So, but that is
BEK.
terrifying. Yeah, right.
Okay, so
Bleh.
there are some commonalities in the black-eyed kid stories. Um, Primarily, they seem to wear hooded sweatshirts so that you don't see their eyes at first.
Right.
Obviously, in all the stories, their eyes are completely black. There's usually this feeling of dread or insane terror before you even figure out that their eyes are all black. Like, you're just something
Yeah.
makes you feel that dread and terror. They tend to have unusual speech patterns that don't feel right for kids.
Yeah. Right.
Um, they don't sound or act like kids act. They're very weird.
Very bizarre.
They have to be invited in, like they just want in. But what's weird is that
So they're
when they
kind of
get in, they
like
don't fucking
vampires.
do anything. They're just like there and then they leave. It's weird. Um,
So they're kind of like vampires
so what was I gonna say?
with the inviting in thing.
So there are some theories about what they are. Um, One of my favorite theories is that they're aliens trying to connect to humans.
I mean,
So,
that makes sense.
well, I mean,
The
it's,
black
they
eyes.
look like kids because they're trying to get humans to like invite them in and let them, in or whatever. And you want something that looks harmless so that you're willing to like let them.
Right.
And
Right.
so they're kids, which is weird and creepy. It also explains like their weird speech patterns. It's almost like they learned manners back in the 60s or something.
Yeah.
May we come in?
You're just like,
No.
no, no, you may not.
Another theory is that they're ghosts. And this comes primarily because there seem to be several black-eyed kid stories in England. There's one in
Okay.
particular, I think it's in, I want to say it's in Stratfordshire, but that might not be right, so don't at
Okay.
me.
Gotcha.
In which multiple people have had encounters with a little girl, a singular one in this case.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Um, and when they like try to talk to her or help her, because she seems to be crying, and when they try and talk to her to help her, and she looks up, her eyes are solid black, and then she tends to disappear after that. It's
Uh,
usually outside. Um,
yeah.
but the theory there is that it actually is a ghost because there at some point was a murderer who killed three little girls back in like the 1940s or sometime long ago.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the theory is that it's the ghost of one of those children. Why
Okay.
they
Gotcha.
don't have eyes, I don't know.
That's weird. Yeah.
But then, of course, the very best explanation for black eyed kids is that they are, in fact, demons, Claire.
Because it's always Satan.
They are children of the devil himself.
Right. Because it's always
It,
Satan.
it's always Satan if you want it to be.
I started to say I've got some Satan in my story too. So
Man, Satan is just really hitting the high notes on our
I know,
podcast
right?
lately. What can I say?
I know,
Good
right?
job, Satan. But the theory is if you let the black-eyed kids in, you're letting Satan in as well.
Nah.
Ooh.
Regardless of what it is, absolutely not.
Uh,
No, no, no.
the article in which I was reading about the different theories about what the black-eyed kids could be had a comment section because what good website doesn't
Yes.
have that? So I just wanted to share.
Oh, the comment sections are always
I just wanted
treasures.
to
It's like,
share
yes.
a comment from
Yes.
one of those articles that I read. If you ever encountered a child alone, black eyes, it's a demon using a warlock or a witch body to destroy humans. Don't stop and ask anything. Use Jesus's names and they tremble with Jesus' name. One, let me tell you, spell check, grammar check, just like try a little harder. Did you read it back to yourself? Because, whoa.
Holy crap. I can't with that.
But I was just like, it's using a warlock or a witch body. And I'm like, and I'm here for it. I didn't know warlock and witches were children, but
Oh,
cool, cool, cool.
oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
To destroy. In fact, let me read it to you because I tried to clean it up a little bit. Let me read it in its imperfectness.
Okay.
If you ever encountered a child alone, black eyes, it a demon, using a warlock or witch body to destroy human, don't stop or ask anything. Use Jesus' names. They tremble with Jesus'
Names.
name.
Why is it? Why? Tell me why. Anytime these uber religious people comment on anything, it is always like riddled with all the grammar awfulness and misspellings and oh my gosh.
Oh, they
It's just I
probably,
can't.
Claire, if you
I
ask
can't.
them, they wrote it in perfect, grammatically correct English. It's just that Satan came in and muddied it up so that we don't
Oh, I'm
believe in
sure. I'm
Jesus'
sure.
names.
Jesus' names.
Jesus'
Yeah,
names.
Jesus' names.
Jesus' names. How many names does Jesus have? Doesn't he just
I
have
mean, if
like
you're going
Jesus? Isn't that his name? I mean, he has
unless you're
like
going with like Emmanuel or something like that. God with us.
completely unrelated
They're going
aside.
down that list.
Like completely
They're going down
unrelated
that
aside.
list.
I
Yeah.
read someone's like I think it was an atheist or whatever talking about the absolute ridiculousness that is the Jesus and the Trinity and all that stuff, like trying like a total outsider's perspective of Christianity and how fucking ridiculous it is. And it was like because Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit are all the same, but all these things are. And I laughed so hard at how ridiculous, it's like the alien talking about human interactions that
Right.
it's the same thing, but it's like, this is utterly ridiculous. I love it.
Right.
All his names, Claire.
All of them.
All of his names. All use
Mhm.
Jesus names. They tremble with Jesus name.
I'm sorry.
I know.
I can't.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
But so that's my story of the black-eyed children and why they terrify me. And why, like, there are weird moments because in a lot of them, people will talk about they have these feelings of dread before there's even like a knock on the door. They
Right.
like suddenly feel dread and then there's a knock on the door. And I'm
And
like,
it's like, huh.
ugh. So every once in a while,
Right.
because we're across the street from a park, which is spooky at night.
Oh, right.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
every once in
Mhm.
a while, I'll just be like sitting there watching TV and I'm like,
Like,
dread. I'm filled with dread. I better go lock the door. And I'll be like, don't enter the door, Spencer. And he's like, the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, the black eyed kids are
He's
coming.
like he's like, "You are being ridiculous
Yes.
right now."
Yes, that is correct. All right. So, Claire, what story did you bring us for
Yes.
our spookiest shit ever?
I'm gonna talk about the Amityville house,
Ooh.
which has movies and all the things about it, and got my sources from Biography, All That's Interesting, Oxygen,
Hmm.
and I watched it was on Amazon Prime, a documentary called My Amityville Horror, which talked with one of the kids who is now an adult
Mm. That is a
and
spooky.
got their perspective on the whole thing. So, anywho, starts with the DeFeo family
Mm-hmm.
consisted of Ronald Sr., the dad, Louise, the mom, Ronald Jr., oldest son, he was 23, had a daughter named Dawn, who was 18, a daughter, Allison, who was 13, a son, Mark, who was 12, and another son, John Matthew, who was 9. And so, Ron Sr., he was a dick. He
Mm-hmm.
was abusive
Mm-hmm.
to the family, and Louise let him do it because that's what happened back in the day.
You don't
This
have a
all takes
whole
place
lot
this
of
right. This is in
options.
the 70s.
Mm.
Yeah. This is in the 70s. So yeah, women didn't have a lot of options back then to get out of bad marriages. So, but says she was a passive mom and so she just let the abuse continue. And so Ron Jr., the oldest one, grew up to have problems with substance abuse, both alcohol and drugs.
Fair.
And yeah, and he had trouble holding a job, so he continued to live with the family. So he was with them. They lived at this house. It is 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville. So,
Hmm.
on November 13th, 1974, Ron Jr. murdered all of the family, and around 3:15 a.m. That's important later. No signs of struggle. All members of the family were face down in their beds, which I'm like, does everybody sleep on their stomachs? Because it didn't look like he had shot them and then like moved them, but they were all like face down and he shot them.
That's weird. I didn't know if I knew that.
Right. Shot with a 35 rifle. And he apparently went back to this bar he frequented and he goes in and he's like, "Oh, my family's been murdered." And then they come back. Yeah, and so then it's like one of those where it's like his story changed a bazillion times.
Mm-hmm.
Because first it was like he blamed his mom that she did it. She killed the family, and then he killed her because she killed the family. And then he changed it to where it was Dawn, the oldest daughter, killed everybody, and then he had to kill her. And then it turned into, well, this was a mob hit. So yeah, there were
Wow.
several. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But he ultimately confessed. And October 14th, 1975, he was on trial. He tried to use an insanity plea, because he said that he heard voices telling him to kill his family. But the prosecution was basically like, oh, he's a druggy alcoholic. He knew what he was doing. So that was, yeah. But he was convicted of 6 murders, second-degree murder, 6 concurrent sentences of 25 years to life. So that's what happened in this house. So, December of 1975, the Lutz family purchases the house, which is, by the way, this is a big house. It's 4,000
Mhm.
square feet. They got it for $80,000.
Whoa.
Yeah. And they were aware of what happened.
That just feels like the height of hubris. Because, like, regardless of if you believe in ghosts or demons
Right.
or whatever, it's
Right.
like, you really want to live in a house that many people died in recently?
Yeah, like within like
I mean,
a
like,
year
if it
ago.
were like
Yeah.
50 years ago this happened, you'd be like, whatever.
Like, but
But
I
I'm
mean, we're
like,
talking a year.
their blood
Yeah.
is still in the floorboards, all right? Stop
Right.
it.
And so, but they knew. Like they disclosed it to them and they were just like, "Oh, it's a great house, blah blah blah." So, the Lutz family consists of George and Kathleen Lutz and Kathleen's 3 children from a previous relationship. So George is their stepdad. They had Danny, who was 9, and that's the guy that they interviewed in the documentary I watched. Chris was 7, and Missy was 5.
Hmm.
And so they had a priest come the day they were moving in to bless the house.
Oh, well, that just
But then,
pisses things off, guys. Don't be doing
I
that
mean,
shit.
but then the priest just like left. Like it was just like he got bad vibes from bad juju from some rooms and was like, he heard a voice that said, get out. And so he was just like, forget this.
He didn't bless the house?
I think he did, but still, it was just
He
like,
was like,
I
I
think
blessed it,
he
but also
told
I
them,
pissed it off. So have fun, good luck, bye
right,
bye.
right. Like he told them, like, there were certain rooms, like, this room is bad. Don't go in this room.
Ugh.
Like, just stay out. So, it was almost like immediately things started going south. So, some of the things that happened to this family, while they lived, okay, and they lived here for 28 days. So, not even an entire month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, only 28 days they lived in this house. So, flies began appearing, and no matter what they tried, and we're not talking like 2 flies, we're talking like hundreds.
Right.
Hundreds of flies in certain rooms would appear and they would try, and you know, the guy in the documentary, Danny, he would talk about how he would like whack a bunch of them with a newspaper and they would be dead. And then he'd go tell his mom they come up there and the flies would be gone. The dead flies would be gone. And it was just like, what? It was just weird kind of things. George would wake up at 3:15 a.m. every single morning, which was the same time the murders happened.
Mm-hmm.
And there were random cold spots in the house. Not, I mean, when I say random, I'm like there was nothing
Right.
that would,
There's
like, there was one. It was just like in front of the, like, this picture of a lion on a door next to a door to a bathroom. It was just like there was a cold spot, just random, no vents, no nothing to be like, why is this cold? And I'm not talking like just a cold breeze, like it was cold. Like he said, the kid, I call him a kid. He's an adult now, but Danny, who lived in the house, said he said I'm talking like a 20-degree difference
hmm.
in spaces that should not have been. And there were sometimes that they just could not keep the house warm. I mean, because this is December, it's
Mm-hmm.
before Christmas. So, they'd have the fire going and it was just freezing. Um, George and Kathleen claimed that they would see red eyes staring at them
Ugh.
through an upstairs
Why
window.
are they always red eyes? Like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
Like, glowing red eyes in the dark. Like, why, God?
Right. You're
What
just
the
like,
hell?
what? You're just like, oh my
I mean, I'm
god,
gonna
what
be
is
honest, like,
this?
glowing green eyes are just as fucking scary. Like, any glowing eyes
Right.
in the dark are scary. So, like, what's the
Why
deal
is
with
it
red?
always red? I don't know. Um, let's see. Several times Kathy would levitate above her bed and she'd wake up and be like, I'm levitating. One time they were outside and Danny said that he looked up and he saw this pig creature with fangs, like wolf fangs, and glowing red eyes. And
Mm-hmm.
George saw it too. And they ran upstairs and there was nothing there, but the rocking chair was like rocking really hard, but nobody was
Haven't
in the house to make it rock like that.
haven't they seen Psycho at this point to be like,
I
mm-mm.
know, right? Um, let's see. Oh, the son, Danny, who and he talked about this, and his dad, they had him on audio because both George and Kathleen have passed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But he talked about that, and they had the George on audio talking about it. That they were in this room, and this window was open, and they were trying to get it closed. And Danny had his hands on the windowsill, and then the window just slammed shut all on its own. And then they couldn't get it back up, and they finally get the window back up, and his hands are like he said it was like skin on skin. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, we're talking hands were definitely broken,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
obviously deformed at that point. And so they take him downstairs, and Kathy's trying to like give him ice to put on his hands. And he said, and this was so weird, it was just like he said he felt it like this spirit come in through the kitchen and like pass through the table where his hands were, and then like sat down at the table, and where she had this stuff wrapped on his hands. When they took it off and they're like get ready to take him to the doctor, his hands were fine
Oh.
except for one pinky that's like looks like it was broken, had been broken, it was crooked, but it was just like his hands were magically okay.
Wow.
And I'm just like, what in the world is that? I don't, oh my gosh. It was like the fact that it was just like, okay, this is weird now.
Well, and like,
Because multiple people saw that
well,
happen.
and like, imagine being a 9-year-old and being like, "My hands are broken. My hands are broken." Like, you're crying, you're upset, you're freaking out, and then you're just like,
Right,
spirit goes to them, and you're just like, "They're fine."
right. Let's see. George said that there was like green slime ooze that came out from the walls in the boathouse. And I'm just like, that's
They
disgusting.
had a boathouse.
It has a boathouse, yes.
I'm so jealous. Can I
And a
buy this
dock.
house? Like, it's fine.
I know,
I'm not
right?
afraid.
Um
I mean, we won't Ouija
and
board there or nothing. I'm not stupid, but like,
I mean, right. We're not gonna, yeah. But the family talked about how like all the members, which apparently George had kind of a temper anyway, but how all the members of the family began to have like short fuses and become violent when angry, that the house, this bad juju in the house was affecting them.
mm-hmm.
And Danny talked about how they would go outside and this garage door they had was like opening and shutting, like slamming open and slamming shut and slam, I mean, all on its own. And they're trying to like get it, and the dog is like freaking out. And he said that the dog was that had him like in a fenced area, but they also had him tied up, and the lead was just long enough that he could jump over the fence but couldn't like land on the ground. And so he would like freak out enough that he would jump over, and it was almost like he was like hanging himself, so he
Wow.
had to like get him back over, but the dog was still freaking out because Harry was the dog's name, that the dog would just the bad juju, all the bad juju.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't. No, I
um
don't want any of this. Blech.
right, right. Danny says that he was possessed by something, and it threw him up the stairs into the wall, and that he felt like he had no control over his body. And his mom was there, and his mom witnessed it. And yeah, I
And at
know. It's
that
just
point, she
like,
didn't run
huh?
screaming out of the house. Like they waited.
Right, 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 right. And so like the last night in the house, he said that his bed and his brother's bed were in the same room, were bouncing and slamming into each other and then slamming into the walls, and that they both boys like shared this levitation experience. And then George said that he physically could not get out of bed, and that Kathy was levitating above the bed, and so he had to like he could reach up and grab her to keep her from like floating any higher.
Ugh.
And then he said that she turned into this old crone. Like she looked years older than what she was, and it stayed with her for like hours. And then finally, when it's like things calmed down that night, they just got in their car and left. They just pieced right
They were
out
like,
and
nope, we're out. Bye.
right.
Which is, by the way,
Right.
the correct response to like any of that is to get out. Like,
Oh,
what
absolutely.
the hell,
It's
guys?
not worth it.
Why would you
Not
hang
worth
out?
it.
That just sounds insane.
Right. It's just like, no. But after they left, some journalists and the infamous Warrens
Yes, the
and Lorraine
Warrens.
Warren,
Mhm.
yes, and Lorraine Warren stayed the night in the house. One of the journalists said that there was a cameraman who was there, and he said nothing really happened while they were in the house, but this cameraman began to feel weird and have like heart palpitations, and the guy didn't have any history of heart problems, and it was like it just really whatever was going on was really bothering him.
Mhm.
And there was also I think it was like a second time that Lorraine Ed and Lorraine Warren came back. They had a camera, they had somebody taking pictures, and this is the creepiest picture of them all, and we'll throw this up. But there is a picture of a
The
child
creepy little
standing
boy.
in the yes, standing in the doorway with his head like above the railing, and
I've
it's
seen
so
that. It's
freaking
so
creepy.
scary.
It's so creepy. It's just like,
You're
oh my,
like,
and
what
they
the
said that,
fuck was
and they
that?
were like, but at that point nobody was living
There's
there.
nobody there.
And
There's
so
no
there's no
children in the
children.
house.
Yes. And it's just like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
I like I think of the picture. I've looked it up and I'm like, oh god, that creeps
It
me out
creeps
so
me
bad.
out too.
Yeah. And then at one point Lorraine Warren walked into what had been Ronnie DeFeo's bedroom, and she just like backed the fuck out and was like, nope, this is evil. Like she said she could just feel all the evil. She didn't I don't think she even knew it was his room to begin with, but it was like
Mhm.
that had been his bedroom. And oh, and so after Christmas, when the family was still there, because they left like in January, but I forgot to mention this. After Christmas, when they took all the Christmas decorations down, which
Mhm.
they said that George was a non-practicing Methodist and that Kathy had been she was like a non-practicing Catholic. So they still had like, your nativity sets
Right, right,
up
right.
and
Mhm.
all that stuff. After they took all that junk down, then it was like they began to smell this like foul, like hot trash scent they could not get rid of. So it was just like that was also part of it. Like, oh, they had taken all the Jesus paraphernalia down. And
That
then
was
it was
holding the
like,
bad smell at bay. All of
I
Is that
guess, I
Jesus
guess,
names? Is Jesus names coming back?
perhaps,
Jesus names
perhaps.
keeps the smells away.
Right. So all this stuff happens, and it's just like they leave, they begin telling their story. It kind of explodes, obviously. There are movies about it. A guy wrote a book about it, but, as that whole thing's skeptics came out of the woodwork.
Well, of course. Gotta have a
And,
good
well,
skeptic.
yeah, I know. Well, and they claim that the Lutzes were in over their head financially, so they made all of it up as a money-making scheme. And the Ronnie DeFeo Jr.'s lawyer, his name was William Weber, claimed this too and said that they had had conversations with him about it while drinking lots of bottles of wine, many bottles of wine,
Many, many
many bottles of
bottles
wine.
of wine.
Yes, yes. And so that was like part of like he had come up with it with them to like I guess it was partly he says the lawyer says to like I guess you play into that whole like insanity thing with DeFeo where he had said he'd heard voices and all that, but that they lied about it for financial gain. Some claimed that George Lutz liked to dabble in the occult,
Oh.
even though he claimed to be a non-practicing Methodist. And that George's connection and to the occult, awaken something in the house. And so that's why
Oh
the
God.
house
Was he playing
was,
with
yeah,
tarot cards and a Ouija board, Claire? Because
he might have. I mean, it's true. It was, yeah. I'm sure there was a Ouija board involved at some point. I don't know. But that's what some people claim is that
drawing
he
his
liked to,
pentagrams on the ground.
I mean, yeah.
Oh Lord.
However, all this to say that George and Kathy both took lie detector tests after it was over and they both passed.
Ah,
So, if
interesting.
it's true, it sounds terrifying.
Yes.
And I want to go like crawl under a bed.
Well,
It's like,
no,
oh
because who
no.
knows what's under that bed with you? Ugh.
Right.
Ugh.
Right. But yeah, it was just there were so many things. But since they've left, I think they said 5 people. Five. It's been sold 5 different
Mm-hmm.
times since the Lutz's 28-day stay, and none of the other owners have said there were any paranormal anything. It's all been fine. So
Then why have there been
it's
so many?
right.
I mean,
I don't know.
that's five? That's a lot, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, that was at the end of the documentary. It said 5 since 75 or 76. They yeah, cuz they moved in 75 and then left in January of 76.
Hmm.
So, yeah, since 76 it's had 5 different owners.
I mean, I guess it's been like 40 plus years, but still, it just seems like a lot of people.
Right.
But what do
And
I
I
know?
think it was the people after the Lutz's people who bought it, they had the address changed
Mm-hmm. It
because
was a
everybody
famous
knew
house,
that
right?
it was the house, so they just like because it was like 112 and they got it changed to like 108 Ocean
Mm-hmm.
Avenue. So, but like they said, the only thing that really happened was like lots of people driving
Right.
by, taking pictures, all that stuff. So, because it's a famous house, that's why.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would have cried. That'd been me. If I'd been 9 and that happened to
Well,
me, I'd been like, ah. But in the documentary, they talked to some of the, skeptics or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and how, these kids were young and impressionable, and how memory is a strange thing that, you can create or fill in blanks in your mind that you don't actually have the memory for.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, even though he's sitting there saying, this absolutely happened. And also, they said because he didn't like his stepfather, his stepfather was kind of an ass.
Mm-hmm.
And, and how, and he did say that he like lived to basically be a dick towards his stepfather, that there, a lot of this was that. And it's like, but not really. It doesn't sound like it, like the whole like him having his hand smushed by the window. It's like,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Yeah. Well, and like his very specific experience of like the spirit coming through and going through the table and sitting across from him or whatever, like that
Right.
was his experience, not really anyone
Yes.
else's. So I don't
Right.
know. Weird.
And a lot of his stuff was it was this is what I witnessed, this is what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like his wasn't like, oh, my sister told me blah blah blah. It was like this is what happened to me. This is, and he even talked about how like when movies would come out that it's like people would call him because they never had his name right in the movie. They always changed names or
Right,
whatever. And
right.
so it was like people would call him whatever the name was in the movie, and that kind of thing. And how he was just been trying to spend his whole life trying to get away from it,
Yeah, I mean,
and
fair.
it's still,
It's
yeah,
like it was 28 days when I was 9. Back off, people.
right. But my thing is, I don't think the financial thing is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ladies in the documentary brought this up because I thought of that. they were only in that house 28 days. There's no way they would have been behind at that point. Like, they didn't live there long enough
Mm-hmm.
to get behind. And I mean, and once they left, that's when they let the house go into foreclosure, because it was just like, get it out of here, you know.
Yeah, we're
And
not paying
they
for the possessed house anymore. Sorry.
right, 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 right. So was it the family or was it actually Satan or
Well,
you know,
Claire, it's always Satan. I mean, it's always Satan, and Satan loves to be little children so that it's less scary, but also more scary at the same time.
right? Oh my gosh. But it was just like I'm watching this documentary and I'm just like, if that happened to me as a kid, I'd be messed up too. I mean,
Okay, so I really need you to go read Riley Sager's Home Before Dark. We've talked about it before, but like it is so much Hill House and Amityville horror, especially hearing
oh,
all of
is
this. And
it?
like, there's so much that feels familiar. You're gonna love it. You're
Okay.
gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's amazing. I want to
Okay.
go read it again, except I know how it is. So it's sad.
You're like, if I could just read it again for the
For
first
the
time.
first time, yes, please. Oh, so good, so
Anyway, that's the story of the Amityville Horror House. So
amazing. You know, we should buy the Amityville Horror House and turn it into a bed and breakfast.
we should.
Yeah.
We make lots of money.
Or we buy a house where something horrific happened that maybe was the devil, and then we stay for
That's
27 days, one less.
right.
And we run screaming out. And then we sell our story about how haunted and scary it is and see how that goes.
That's right. It's a plan. Let's do it. Nobody will suspect a
No, they'll
thing.
they'll never look back on this recording and say, "Oh, they planned
Absolutely
that."
not. Absolutely not.
Good
Oh
times.
my gosh. Anyway, so yeah, that's Amityville.
That was excellent. I have seen at least two of the movies. I have definitely seen the picture of the terrifying child because it's creepy. Like it's creepy
Oh my
even
gosh, it's
without
terrible.
the explanation of where it is and what it is. Like just
Because
even if
like
it
I
were
get
a
like
living, breathing human child, it's still creepy. Like I can't express to
right.
you why.
Because you know how like when the flash of a camera hits your eyes a certain way and it
Mm-hmm.
makes them glow,
Mm-hmm.
that's what this kid's eyes look like, and you're just like, oh god,
Mm-hmm.
make it stop. Make this kid stop staring into my soul. It's terrible.
Wait. Ghosty
Well,
children are creepy.
I guess now it is time for
Tarot time
tarot
with
time with
April.
April.
Ah, spooky, spooky. All right, Claire, are you ready?
Do it. What will these Labor Day cards bring us?
Hopefully, not more labor.
Right.
All right. It's time to shuffle the card deck now on the spooky show. With all the children in our stories that Satan sent on his own.
Stop. Oh gosh. Why are there always children involved with scary stuff?
Because
They make
children
it even more scary.
are scary. Because you don't. Here's the thing. So, if you take a child and you give them black eyes, they're scary. If you take a child and you put them in a picture when they're not supposed to be there at all, because no children's supposed to be there, they're
Right.
scary. But, fun fact, if you take a child and do neither of those things, they are still scary.
Right. Or when you ask a kid, like, oh, who are you playing with? My imaginary friend. Blah blah. Yeah, any kid with an imaginary friend, nope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here for any of that either.
Okay, we ready?
Yep.
We have the Six of Pentacles so that we can call Satan, apparently.
Apparently.
We have the Ten of Wands inverted.
Oh. been a minute since we've had an inverted card.
And we have the sun.
The sun, here comes the
I was about to
sun.
sing that, but I don't know the tune, so I didn't. I just know that it is a song.
Here comes the sun. I say it's alright. Sorry. I have to finish it. I can't
You
just
know,
like leave it hanging.
we all have our things, and that's fine. That's fine. We all.
I'm not OCD about many things. That's one of them. I need to be more OCD about like my house and how it looks. But no, what am I OCD about? I'm OCD about packets of paper and how they're stapled.
Mm-hmm.
Like I cannot stand, like I have to fix it. If somebody gives me pieces of paper and they're not like lined up, I cannot stand it. I do it at work all the time.
You like
I take the
you
staples
take the
out and I
staple
fix
out
it
and
because
you
'cause I'm like,
fix
I
it. Of
can't.
course you do.
I
I
can't.
love
I
it. I
do.
love it.
I do. I take the staples out and I'm like, this isn't acceptable. Absolutely
It's
not.
all right. So we do a lot of take and make kits or like goodie bags for certain things or whatever. And I don't do a whole lot because I'm busy and have too many other things I do, but I do a few.
Right.
And we have teen volunteers that we give them random jobs, and everyone else likes to have the teen volunteers do that for them. And I'm like, no, because they won't do it right.
No.
It won't be nice
Right.
and neat. It won't be in the order that I want. So I'm like, no.
Right. Right.
So I get it. I get it. Okay. Here's our week.
Yes.
We're starting off with the Six of Pentacles.
Yes.
This card is about generosity, both spiritual and financial. Can you give without judging? Of course not. Have you heard our show?
No.
It's like, are
Right.
you kidding?
Like,
Uh,
please.
can you take without feeling humiliated? Yeah, I can do that. That's fine.
I mean, yeah.
Can you allow yourself to enter into the ebb and flow of community? I am judging a quilt show, so I feel like
I
I
feel
have
like,
really
yeah.
embraced the community here.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. Long time ago, there were no charity organizations, no United Way, blah blah blah. If you're going to give to those who were less fortunate than you did it in two places, in church or in the street. If we take the money aspect away from the pentacles, we can call this generosity of spirit, of mind, of body. This can be listening to a friend, being kind and caring lover, helping a child find their lost parent. Unless they have black eyes, then GTFO, okay?
Right.
Don't do that. Don't help. Run. 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 Ugh.
Indeed. Mm-hmm.
When you give of yourself, that's the Six of Pentacles. Money is in there too, but money is just a tool. It's what you do with it that's important. Well,
Noted.
I'm broke, so it ain't that. I can
Right.
give generously of my apparently mind, body, and spirit.
You are giving your time to go judge this quilt
That's
show.
right. I mean, that's not this week, but still.
Time is also important. I'm just
My
saying.
time is very important, and I do not
Right.
let people. I mean, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. It's in the middle of the day on a Thursday. I get paid, so it's fine. It's a community thing
Right.
connected to the library, so it's fine. It's not really for funsies because I wouldn't do it
Right.
if it weren't like tangentially library related. So there. Okay.
Right.
All right. So we have the Ten of Wands inverted. This will be the middle week. So we'll be generous tomorrow on our Labor Day.
That's
Sure.
right.
Okay. Ten of Wands inverted. I've carried around enough of these dark emotions to know that they're important and should be respected. Fear is a lifesaver. Anger protects us from making mistakes again. Hate can burn away excuses that keep us still and silent. Do you have a lot of hate? These emotions should be validated,
Uh-huh.
but for how long and how many will you carry? I've found in giving readings and in my own life that a person will sense when it's time to let these things go. You'll feel less heated when you think of a person who wronged you. You'll feel strong instead of small when you're reminded of the past. If this time comes and is ignored, the bright flames of these Cleansing emotions are extinguished, and we're left carrying around ashes. Sticky, heavy, blinding ashes. Old resentments or frustrations, old wounds and fears, I've been letting them go. Or as my honey says, put it down, babe. He's much more zen than I am. Well, whereas I just accept it as my fate. I found this stick. This is my goddamn stick, and I'll carry it as long as I want, even if it hurts me. I like that.
I
I'm here for
mean,
that. I'm a grudge holder. Our podcast is literally named Brunch and Judge. Like, come on.
right.
Whatever. It's hard to put down these sticks. It's even harder when you've grown comfortable with their weight. Sometimes being free of something is just as frightening as carrying it around. But it's freeing to let go of things that no longer serve you. The reverse of this card is heavy too, but the chance of release is great. So I guess we're going to finally let go of some of our grudges. But not all of them. I got some I'm keeping, thank you.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. We know.
That's what
we know who.
I can hold a grudge.
We know who.
I really. Right.
Serves me just fine. To my mother's everlasting chagrin.
Right. Same.
It's all
Forgive
right.
and forget. It's like forgive and forget. No.
And then
Never.
Here Comes the Sun. We've had this one a couple of times.
We have.
This is the one where all the bad stuff gets moved into the light and we can see it for what it is and let it go.
So apparently that's the theme of the week is let it go.
We're going to be generous, but then we're going to let it go. I mean, it's not bad. I'm curious how that
maybe
pans
not
out.
maybe not let the generosity go.
Right. But
let the bad stuff.
I'm gonna be generous, but it sounds to me like I'm gonna be generous, and it's gonna annoy me, and I'm gonna be taken advantage of in some way, and so then I have to let it go. But then I'm gonna let the sun bring it to light and be like, I let it go. No. So
Nice.
not terrible, but like,
could be worse.
Whatever.
Right.
It's fine. Okay. Okay,
babe.
It's fine. Babe.
Babe.
Okay,
Oh,
so what will our next topic be?
Let's
All
see.
right, it's time for the Wheel of
Fate. It's spinny, spinny, spinny. Oh, yes.
Oh, somebody's happy. What is it?
History.
History. There's a lot of choices there.
There really are. Oh, because your friend
sent us one, right?
Ellen sent us one. I might do that one.
Ooh.
Because I went and looked that person up and I was like, right. Yes, I'm here for that.
Don't worry, I'll pick something good and exciting.
I know, right? I was getting really excited and I was like, oh, yeah. And then it was history, but then I was like, it almost landed on true crime. And I was like,
don't worry. It will come eventually. I mean, we do true crime anyway, but like true crime.
Right. We usually just flat out finding something that's just like, this is my true crime story. Because we have those. Because we're weird like that.
We do have those life-defining moments.
We do.
Fun times. Okay. Well, we'll see you next week when we bring you some fascinating, spooky, scary, weird history stories.
Or just kick ass.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. All right. So until next time, you can find us and all the things and all the places at
Brunch and Judge.
And please like and share and subscribe so that way more people can see our excited faces and enjoy our very amazing show, right, Claire?
That's right.
Okay. And if you would like to add some more fun topics to the Wheel of Fate or send us story ideas or any of your own personal stories and judges, especially if you yourself have seen a black-eyed kid, because like
Yeah,
they're
we want
super
that.
spooky. They scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Uh,
If y'all have any, like,
yeah.
like, moments where you've had the shit scared out of you, let us
Or
know. We
did
wanna
are
know.
you one of the 5 people that lived in the Amityville house? Because I
Right.
don't believe you. Tell me the truth.
Right.
We want to hear from you too, and you can send us all of those things to us at
Brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
yay. So until next time, don't answer the door.
Right.
Never
Ever.
let a black-eyed kid or any child for that matter just randomly into your house. Ask questions. That's what I'm saying.
Or just shut the door in their face.
Also that.
It's fine.
You have other neighbors, they can knock on someone else's door. Stay away.
Right. Constant vigilance.
Vigilance!
I know.
But until next time, keep on brunching.
And keep on judging.
Bye.
Bye.